Hi, everybody. Welcome to the second episode of our interview series. Today, I have the pleasure of hosting Cathy Murphy. Cathy is the Executive Director of the Eamonn O'Loughlin Irish Canadian Immigration Centre, which is based in Toronto. Now, she has been the Executive Director since January 2012. The Eamonn O'Loughlin Irish Canadian Immigration Centre is otherwise known as ICAN. And we have partnered with ICAN for the last 9 years. And so I just really wanted to give Cathy an opportunity to tell us a bit more about who they are, what they do, and how they can help all the new Irish immigrants to Canada. So welcome, Cathy.
Thank you, Louise.
I guess what I'd like you to do is just tell us more about ICAN and let us know about the services provided.
So ICAN is a national organization. We operate right across Canada, helping a number of Irish new arrivals in many different cities. Most of our clients are in Vancouver and Toronto, and we offer a 3-pillared mandate. So first of all, we work with new arrivals as opposed to senior communities in the Irish community. And for new arrivals, we offer information and outreach around immigration, which would be work permits, permanent residency. We signpost to critical information around those topics. We also offer information and outreach around employment. So whilst we don't place people in jobs, we're not in recruitment, we do get them employment ready in Canada and make sure that their resumes are Canadianized and that they understand the steps to employment in Canada and what differences there might be culturally. And then thirdly, we have a massive social services prong to our mandate, and we do a lot of outreach around mental health, and we can signpost people to critical services in their community.
Great, and I noticed that you do webinars, like you often do employment webinars, and that was it throughout the month of February, you were doing webinars for mental health, that kind of thing. So that seems to be a large part of what you do, especially now, I guess, with COVID, it's helpful that there are, we are able to reach so many people via these webinars.
Yeah, I mean, thank goodness, even pre-COVID, because we were national, but we only had operations in Toronto and Vancouver. Right. We were reaching people via digital and social means, and thank goodness. So we were one of the lucky organizations that didn't have a massive pivot when COVID hit. Right. We just did more online than we had ever done before. Right. And we obviously dialed down everything that was in person. So yeah, webinars right now are our main way of reaching large groups of clients, but we still offer one-on-one, either Zoom or Skype. Yeah, we can still meet with our clients that way. And of course, phone and email consultations we do on a daily basis.
Amazing, amazing. And can you tell me a bit more about who your main clients are?
Yes, so we mainly serve those who are arriving to Canada on the International Experience Canada program. Most of them are coming on the Working Holiday Scheme, and they are between 18 and 35 years of age when they arrive. In the summer, we would see a lot of that sort of 18 to 21-year-old group. And then year round, we would see more mature recent graduates who would come. And then we deal with them, many of them throughout their journey in Canada. So not just arrival, right. A little bit pre-arrival, and then definitely arrival, and then next steps to staying long-term.
And why would you say that they choose to come to Canada as a destination?
It's a good question. It used to be Australia and America that was the big pull. Obviously, the UK is still a big pull because it's close by. Canada got on the radar just after the economic crash in 2008. So we saw, I mean, we weren't open yet, but our Irish community saw many, many Irish young people and families come sort of 2010, 2011. And I think part of that was because the strong relationship between Ireland and Canada, there was a spotlight being shone on it throughout that economic crisis. And our Minister of Finance at the time was really instrumental in working with the Irish government to improve their procedures and financial controls. And so all of a sudden, Canada was in the media a lot more in terms of its friendship with Ireland. So, and I mean, the International Experience Canada program had been around before the economic crash, but the Irish young people hadn't really availed of it. And then all of a sudden they started coming in big numbers.
And it really expanded, didn't it? All of a sudden, because I think the first time actually that you and I met was in Dublin, and where at the time there was these really large exhibitions rather, for, you know, to try and give people information about coming to live in Canada. And one year at the time, the Canadian Minister of Immigration actually went over there to speak at the conference because there was such a huge interest. And at the time, Canada had a large labor shortage with regards to tradespeople. And because I guess of the lack of employment in Ireland, we were getting so many people coming over. And can you tell me a little bit more about, I mean, you know, in the years, I guess, that I've been working, often the working holiday program used to be as a way for people to come, you know, to just kind of have a fun little gap year and maybe go work in a bar or something. That's how it used to be, but that quite dramatically changed, I believe, because obviously of the economic crash and the profile of people coming over. Would you agree that that was the case?
I would absolutely.
It used to be very much an 18 to 30, right? But then they brought up to the age to 35, and they increased the number quite dramatically.
In fact, when we first opened, we were mainly seeing, you know, 25 to 35-year-olds and families coming.
Okay.
We didn't start to see the young students coming into the last couple of years. And part of that is because of the scale down of the programs in the US for Irish students going over. So then they turned to Canada and started to use the working holiday 2-year permit more as a summer permit, which has all sorts of complications down the line. But yes, I would agree wholeheartedly that the Irish coming over from about 2011 and still to this day are using the working holiday visa not as a lark, but most of them are using it actually as a significant career move. Even though pre-COVID, obviously the Irish economy was just on fire and things were actually very good there. So pre-COVID, maybe there was a little bit of a shift in why people came to Canada, and then that's all going to change again, of course, now.
And what would you say, I mean, I guess it's hard because, you know, there's pre-COVID and post-COVID, because obviously prior to COVID, people would come over with their open work permit and not necessarily need to have a job to go to. Now, as we sit here today, applicants do actually need to have a job to come to. So that's quite a dramatic change. In general circumstances, what would you say is the biggest challenge when somebody arrives here coming from Ireland? Right now, we know they need to have a job to come to, whereas I guess before it would have been the actual finding the job likely would have been the biggest challenge.
Yes, I mean, assuming that things are going to eventually go back to whatever normal is, getting the job, getting the right job, I think is the biggest challenge, because they need a pathway to stay long-term. And navigating that pathway to permanent residency can be very tough if they haven't found maybe an ICAN or another organization who can help them with that. And they need, as you know, they need the right job, they need a skilled job, and they need time to get those hours. And then they need time to be able to put in a permanent residency application and stay here whilst that process is. So I think getting the right job, understanding the complexities of the pathways to permanent residency, and thinking of that way in advance is critical. And so those would be the two big challenges.
Perfect. And I know, obviously, you know, I used to give, you know, actual in-person seminars across the country. And that was the one thing that we were always so happy when people came at the beginning, you know, of their time in Canada, so that we could tell them, listen, like, you need to get a skilled job. You need to make sure that you've thought ahead to make sure that you know what you need to do in order to be eligible to apply for permanent residency from day one. Because you know, it was so frustrating, and sometimes then we'd speak to people who didn't quite meet, you know, the requirements because they hadn't quite got the right job, or, you know, and so it is really important, as you say, to just have that pathway planned from the beginning. Is there any specific advice that you would give to new arrivals?
Well, it's a follow-on to the previous question. I think if you've arrived here with any sense of the fact that you might want to stay longer than 2 years, you need to immediately be exploring how you would do that. And Even if you're not sure, even if you think, look, this is good for my career and I'm going to go home to Ireland with some international experience, I think this will have been a really good experience for me. And I have something to sell to employers back home. Even if that is your plan, take the time to just explore what you'd need to do to stay in case you change your mind, or in case your employer comes to you after a year or so and says, we don't want to lose you. You've added an amazing contribution to our company. How can you stay? And potentially it's too late because you haven't got all your ducks in a row, or maybe you're in the wrong job. Maybe your employer's got you in a semi-skilled role and he and you or she and you didn't realize what was required. So even if you don't think you're going to stay, take 20 minutes and peruse our PR guide. Right. Or go on to Citizenship and Immigration's website and have a look at IRCC's information around this and just give it some thought.
And I know it's one thing that we often mention is that, when Irish come over on their working holiday, they already have a huge advantage because they're getting a 2-year open work permit. And obviously their language skills are already, are well advanced, so that they're going to score highly on the language test. And those two factors, getting that Canadian work experience and having high language points, is key to being able to submit a permanent residency application. Now, did you have any final words that you'd like to share? Before I get that, actually, I just wanted to mention, you mentioned about a guide that you have. So do you want to maybe tell us a bit more about the information that people can find on your website?
Yes, thank you. We have a dedicated essential guides page tab on our website. And from there, that shoots off to many other pages around just about anything you could think of in terms of being a new arrival to Canada. So of course, permanent residency, other work permits besides the International Experience Canada program. Tough to get, closed permits, but still they're there. All the various pilot programs that are going on through IRCC. And how you could stay in Canada via those programs. And also information on employment, filing your taxes in Canada, an extensive mental health resources page that we update regularly. We have podcasts. Many of those are around mental health. So I think it's probably worth a visit to our website. There's quite a big scope and reach.
Excellent. Thank you. Did you have any final words that you'd like to share with everybody?
I would just say that we're really proud at ICAN of our mental health and outreach program. We do have 2 social care advisors on our team, one in Vancouver and one in Toronto, who actually has national scope. So if anybody's listening and you want to talk, please reach out. Amazing.
Thank you so much. It was a real pleasure to speak with you today and to learn more about what ICAN does. And so what we'll do is we'll put up your contact information, and so that anybody that is watching, if you want to go ahead and get some more information, learn more about Cathy and more about the Irish Canadian Immigration Centre, then we'll provide all of that information to you. So I want to thank everybody for watching. Take care and have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Cathy.